Nothing has brought me greater joy than watching the Walt Disney Company absolutely panic over the last few weeks. They're mad at South Park because they're making fun of their woke ideologies, constantly race swapping or religion swapping everything in their movie.
Hang on. Has Rachel Zegler really broken down after South Park hilariously mocked Disney's woke Snow White remake? Take The Little Mermaid. They cast a black actress as Ariel, got some heat, but kept the story's magic intact. Snow White? They've torched the blueprint. No prince, no dwarfs, a Latina Snow White. It's a free-for-all. Fans are screaming, "This isn't diversity, it's pandering." And they're not wrong. Disney's slapping new faces on old tales instead of crafting fresh stories that actually mean something. It's like they're checking a woke box and calling it a day. South Park's Into the Panderverse nails this perfectly. They swap their characters' races and genders to show how hollow it feels. It's not about exploring new cultures or depth, it's just a shiny PR move. But that's not all. Disney's doubling down, saying they want more diverse stories. Problem is, they're not making new ones, they're butchering the old favorites. Imagine if they'd created a badass Latina princess from scratch, instead of forcing it on Snow White. People might have cheered. Instead, they're alienating fans who grew up with these tales. The Little Mermaid dodged the worst of it because it stayed true to its roots. But Snow White's a different beast. It's unrecognizable.
Yes, it was this
people that
awakening
we need to educate, the people that we need to love into awareness.
love them in the right direction.
No, the people who you need to entertain, the people who you need to serve, the people who pay your salary.
Observers have even questioned whether certain creative decisions emerged from an ideological agenda rather than a desire to celebrate the essence of the original film. Compounding matters, the studio reportedly organized multiple rounds of reshoots and extensive re-editing in hopes of delivering a coherent final cut. Yet behind-the-scenes accounts suggest that relentless interruptions and creative disputes undermined those efforts.
Her going, we need to no, you don't need, it's not your job. Your job is to entertain. You are paid to entertain.
The friction between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot also affected the number of takes necessary to finalize pivotal scenes, piling strain on the production timeline and inflating the already substantial budget. In the end, it appears the editing team was tasked with stitching together footage that never organically meshed while the cameras rolled.
It just takes a beloved movie and makes it much more boring and much less realistic. The movie is really, really bad.
On top of and their latest jab at Disney is pure gold. They've dropped an episode called Into the Panderverse, where Cartman, Stan, Butters, and Kenny, those foul-mouthed kids we all know, are swapped into adult women of color. It's a wild, over-the-top parody of Disney's recent moves, especially their upcoming Snow White starring Rachel Zegler. The point? To show just how absurd they think Disney's woke agenda has gotten. Picture this. Cartman yelling about hamburgers 1 minute, then suddenly he's a sassy woman calling out the patriarchy. It's ridiculous, and that's exactly what they're going for. This isn't South Park's first rodeo with Disney either. They've roasted them before, from Star Wars to Mickey Mouse, proving no one's safe from their satire. But this time, it's personal. They're zeroing in on Disney's race-swapping and gender-bending antics, and Rachel Zegler's Snow White is the bullseye. Fans are eating it up because South Park's saying what a lot of people are thinking. These changes feel forced. The episode's loaded with their signature crude humor. Think explosive diarrhea jokes mixed with sharp social commentary, and it's got Disney sweating.
I had explosive diarrhea all night. Dude, school is going to be so awesome today.
Oh, hamburgers.
I like big boobs.
How does this even make any sense?
It makes perfect sense. I think the problem is you.
And that's the real crime. South Park's satire cuts deep here. They're saying, hey, swapping skin color doesn't make you progressive if the story sucks. Online, fans are echoing that, calling it lazy storytelling. Disney's banking on woke points to save them, but it's backfiring. Rachel Zegler's casting fits this pattern. She's a diversity win on paper, but her attitude's tanking the vibe. That promotional opportunities meant to stir excitement for Snow White are being canceled or scaled back.
Is generally understood to be a very, very white person. And in this case, they decided, nope, no, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't think we're allowed to say that, right? I was referring to the movie as sand beige.
If Disney hoped for a celebratory conversation about updating a legacy property for modern times, what they got is a cautionary tale in how quickly public feuds can dominate a project's narrative. Among the many theories about how the production faltered, one recurring theme is that Rachel Zegler's insistent framing of the film as a moral commentary and Gal Gadot's strong stances on international and political issues became a source of constant friction. Neither appeared willing to downplay these issues for the sake of public unity.
But it's no really knock on her.
South Park's not letting it slide, and neither are the fans. This whole saga's proving one thing. You can't just repaint a classic and call it genius. And what's coming next will shock everyone. Disney's trying to fight back, but it might be too late. Disney's pissed, and it's no surprise why. South Park's Into the Panderverse isn't just a jab, it's a full-on assault on their whole game plan. Word on the street is Disney's freaking out, even trying to strong-arm Comedy Central into pulling these episodes. They're not new to this. South Park's roasted them before, like with the Streaming Wars in 2022, where they mocked Disney's Star Wars flops. That stung. But this is next level. They've hit Disney where it hurts. Their shiny, woke business model. See, Disney's big idea is to remake classics with diverse casts. Think Snow White, The Little Mermaid, instead of risking new stories. It's safe, it's profitable, until it's not. South Park's calling it out, showing how pandering looks when you strip it bare. Rumors say Disney's execs, maybe even Bob Iger himself, are scrambling for a sit-down with South Park's creators, Matt Stone and Trey Parker. They want this mockery stopped. It's a threat to their brand. It gets crazier. They're not just mad about Snow White. South Park's gone after Mickey Mouse and Star Wars in the past, and Disney saw that as a personal attack. Now, with Rachel Zegler's mess amplifying the Snow White backlash, they're in damage control mode. But here's the kicker. This episode isn't just about Disney. It's a middle finger to every studio chasing woke trends. Fans are split.
If you did the autobiography of Malcolm X, would you cast Tom Hanks? If you remade Moana, would you cast a little Irish guy? No, you wouldn't. So that was off the top.
As soon as the stars' ideological differences went public, every subsequent promotional endeavor got dragged into those debates. Audiences now hear more about personal convictions than about the creative merits of the film, driving potential ticket buyers away. In an effort to stifle the damage, senior figures within Disney tried orchestrating meetings and giving Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot advice on how to address the press diplomatically.
It is not racist to suggest that a character who is described in the original as skin white as snow, that is literally how the character is described in the original, that's a character description in the same way that, as you mentioned, in Moana.
Unfortunately, these strategies ran aground on the pair's ongoing resentment, and soon even the best-laid PR plans unraveled. Rather than celebrating a new Snow White that modernizes an old fairy tale, publicity has devolved into tabloids dissecting each subtle dig and each passive-aggressive remark. As the premiere date approaches, no one expects Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot to reconcile.